Just today we were talking, of course, we were talking about something really interesting. And today's date is April 29th. And the reason we just turned it on midstream here, excuse the voice, everybody, where's my coffee? Is that we were just casually talking about paranormal groups and investigation groups. And I have been invited by so many groups. One of the groups for about 5 years, 6 years out of California, haunts.org out of Sacramento, California. And then there was a group out of Port Orange Paranormal in Florida that I personally have been on for a good year. And we were just discussing, and we looked at each other and go, "Oh, this is a good topic, everybody. Let's talk about this."
Let's do it. Yeah,
Now we
let's
have to
talk
get
about
back
it.
to that
That's right.
flow about people who can get involved with paranormal groups. A lot of it's curiosity. Some of it's because in their life they've had unexplained situations where they now, what was that happened? Was I imagining that grandma came to visit me in the middle of the night? Or are they from a background that embraces the idea not only do we have angels and guides, but demons and evil entities? And
Absolutely.
John was sharing with me they became involved with a group. And then when the group said, fine, thank you very much, and then he got calls back, and you might want to explain this more, how he
Yeah.
needed to be there to fix it. And that's happened to me. Not only have they called me back after helping them discover on an investigation where to point the camera, the EVPs, and I've got it to where I'll see it in my mind. It's called remote viewing. I can do it in my office. I just hear with my eyes closed like this, and I just feel the area, and all of a sudden I'm seeing where people are walking. It's kind of like really bizarre. I go, oh, I shouldn't be able to do this. What am I doing here? Like, and I'm sitting here real quiet, and I put my mind in a place. Well, the people there with the cameras, they're going, oh, I can't believe Nancy's doing this because she told me to take 2 steps forward and 1 step and take the camera. Well, when they get done with the investigation and where I've drawn the line and I don't have to be there anymore, then you go, wow, now what we do, we brought the family in, Nancy got the person, she described it. Yes, they identified that person. Maybe they don't want that person in the house. So then, like, should we be doing this at all? And should you be in investigation group because now you don't know what to do about
That's right. That's
it. Go
right.
ahead.
That's right. I mean, I've had exactly the same things happen to me where you've been asked to go along to do an investigation, and then you go to the investigation, you do the investigation, you identify who it is or what the spirit is, you talk. You relay the messages back. You get your evidence together, and then go away. And then you get sort of, I won't say blamed for sort of stirring things up, but then you sort of the phone calls, God, John, can you come round and help us because we can't cope because they're here and they're talking and we don't want them to talk to us and they don't want to frighten us and that sort of thing. Um,
So what you did was your life force, you
and
gave
it's
them
difficult.
energy. And now the
That's
people are
right.
saying, you've pointed them out to us. Now we don't know what to do with about it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Then you end up going again and asking the spirit again. Well, is there any way that you can just quieten down and be a bit more relaxed and do things in different ways so you don't frighten the people that who wanted to get in touch with you, but like you say, when you've got in touch with them, then it's like, oh well, what do we do now? We can't cope with it now. And again, like as you said, Nancy, because is that because in some people's lives they're actually there's something bigger going on? Is it because that person is looking for some answer, but then when they get the answer, they can't cope with the answer, or when it's that realization, isn't it? That
Yeah.
that they come into. It's the realization that they come into, and then they don't know quite how to sort of deal with it when the realization has come into their life. And I think sometimes you can. I mean, not only with when I've done investigations, but when I've been, sometimes I'll do sort of readings for people, and then they'll go away and well, since you gave me a reading and you told me about my grandma, right? She's
What,
been around me all the time then, and she's followed me home, and
what else do you
and I
have to
don't want
say
to
to me
follow
now?
her home. That's
Is she helping me
that,
with my taxes?
that's it, and some people get really sort of, I think people get consumed a little bit sometimes
That's
by
what I was thinking.
fear. I
Oh,
think,
mhm.
and and I think fear is, I think fear is a really really difficult thing to understand. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the time.
And with that, I agree. It's like in relationships, the pain of the relationship, it's so consuming them. I can appreciate an investigative group saying, we live in an area that has spirits and ghosts and all this, and it's very exciting to think that you've tapped into the paranormal, the supernatural across the veil, because I feel that most people who get into this are really looking for proof of survival. Like, what do we hear living, struggling, health issues in life and the economy? If there's not more, it sure puts a lot of stress on.
Absolutely,
Yeah, and I
absolutely.
get that. And then the other side is, well, maybe if people believe that we survive, maybe their life can be more whole. What you're learning here, you'll just take as experience. Even if you don't like the experience, you're still learning something from it. But then you get to a place of wondering, okay, if there's spirit guides, if there's angels, if it's good out there, can there be the evil and the bad and wrong? So that when we're called in, if they're trying to discover if there's bad, there has to be good that proves the existence of the not only hereafter but the divine. And so
That's right.
and
That's
so what
right.
happens is people ask people like us, which I really love doing this. It's really amazing to me. I can describe all these people walking around each other. And George Lopez of the Port Orange Paranormal, and he has a blog talk radio show that I've been on for a year. And California Haunt Shar, it's like when I do this, it proves so much to people. And then they go home and they start thinking about it. And then the fear that if there's good and wonderful, there may be bad and wrong. And so this is not
That's
necessarily where
right.
we're
Yeah.
heading with this conversation, but on some level, I guess that's a journey of mine now, is to help people understand that when not necessarily paranormal is a social and healthy spirit. And that's what they're afraid to deal with, because if they're dealing with good and wonderful and spirit guidance and all that, then who is really given the guidance and who's causing grief in their life? Is that an evil person? So the dynamics of this is really, we were talking about ghost investigations before, and it was all merriment. And then we're going to kind of flowing into a place like, do you want to be a ghost, not you, but the audience, do you want to be a ghost investigator? And I always tell people, what is your intent? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
And do you have the
Yeah.
knowledge that if you discover an emotionally unhealthy spirit, evil, bad, and wrong. I mean, to me, they're just spirit people that have gone insane. Wow, what do you want to do with that? Um, person in spirit, can they shoo that one away? Are you giving too much power to somebody who's emotionally unhealthy in spirit? When you get into investigation, since she um, wasn't a group and that disbanded for whatever reason, doesn't matter to me. Now she's wanting me to help her overcome what she had learned,
Yeah.
bring kind of stability to that. And why don't you talk for a minute? I don't
Yeah,
mean to
no,
take the
no, no.
stage here.
I think. I mean, now I just agree with what you're saying there, Nancy. Because I mean, I think, when I meet people and they say, "Oh, we'd love to come on an investigation with you," and we'd love to do, I'm all for people coming on an investigation with me, and I'm all for people, trying to give people information, trying to get the right information out there, or and also trying to get away from the all the, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? All the superstitiousness about doing an investigation.
Yeah. Hmm.
All the, I mean, okay, look, the audience out there, my backdrop here, you can see suns and moons, but at the end of the day, it is all just, it's a bit of a, it's to create an atmosphere, but really and truly,
And I
it's
love
not.
it.
Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It is just, and I try to get away from that, and I do say to people, you've got to be prepared. You have to be prepared mentally, and I think you have to be prepared physically, because if I mean, again, I'm going off at a tangent here, but sometimes you can't. When you do investigations, are people prepared for the spirits to come forward? There are a little bit more negative, because it's, I mean, it's all right us sitting and saying, oh, well, yes, we go on an investigation. We have a gentleman here that's holding a beer glass and he's saying cheers to us and that sort of thing. But then
He
how
wants a
about,
beer.
that's right, who wants a beer? But then how about when we get the spirits that come by and they start swearing at you and they start saying you've got to get out and we want you on your bike and you know what I mean? And we want you out of here because you're interfering our space. And and about our people must understand that there is there is, I don't know whether I'd call them evil spirits, as you say, Nancy, because I think spirits are spirits, but I think some spirits are a little bit more, like you've said, sometimes the transition of the passing is very difficult for them. And I
Hmm.
think they hurt.
They're very
And I think,
angry.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I think some spirits hurt when they go on the other side. And I think when spirits are hurting on the other side, I think they come through and they can. I don't think that they want to hurt us, but I just think that they want peace and harmony the same as what we want peace and harmony in our life, And I think sometimes I think they come across, like you say, as angry, and but are people prepared for that? If you're not prepared for that, and it catches you unawares, because sometimes it's caught me unawares, and the next thing you have something being thrown at you, you know what I mean, or you get being shoved down the stairs or something like that, or you know what I mean, and that sort of thing, and it can be quite frightening. And also, if you're not prepared to witness things like that, and all of a sudden you're being thrust into an environment where you're seeing that can really get into your mind, and it can really,
Yes.
it,
Yes.
Nancy, it can expand your mind and open your mind to things that perhaps really you're not really ready to see, even though you may want to, you know,
Yes.
but are you ready?
Let let me put a little thought to this. How many of you, everybody has gone to a shopping mall and you walk around and you look at all the people and you go, oh, I like her dress. I'm a woman, so I look at people's clothing. Oh, there's a little girl, there's a child, or and then you'll see a child come down the hallway on a skateboard and it's very abrasive. And you say, well, they shouldn't be in here. Or you see an older person with a big stogie out of their mouth and it smells up the whole place. Everybody's irritated. How dare they smoke something stinky like that in the mall with all these little kids around? Take the same perspective in a ghost investigation. Someone comes through as a spirit person and they're angry or abrasive. How would you treat them if they were alive? That's how I deal with it. They're no different to me. Absolutely. At 22 years, every day I've worked this. You can imagine how many spirit people I've dealt with. And the way I get around it, there's people around me all the time, even this minute. And I allow them to be there. They don't mind, they
Yeah,
don't affect my life in
yeah,
that way. So I allow them to be there. But if they were invasive, interruptive in my face, as though they're a living person, they cannot get away with it. Now then, that's how I treat them. And I go, get out of here. Who do you think
a-
you are? And I go,
absolutely,
get out of my
yeah,
space. I'm a living one. You not. You go somewhere else. Go play in
yeah,
Timbuktu
that's
somewhere.
right.
I hope
No,
people in Timbuktu are not watching this. But then there's then there's a few people that have gone insane. And there's a client of mine, he's out of New York, and he had a friend drop dead at a very early age. And I've only seen this a few times, everybody. And you would associate the person as a ghoul. And the unfortunate place is that he had young children. He was at the height of his career. And he passed over and he, not haunted, but he was around this friend trying to get back in his body and they had buried it. I mean, it was just such emotional grieving that he died so suddenly. And, you know, you have a health issue, you don't know you're going to die of a heart attack in your 50s, early 50s. It's just traumatic. And in the years since he's passed, about 3 years now, I've witnessed him. And my friend, he's shown up in my friend's environment. And I said, don't say his name who shall not be said, because then that spirit person will come around
that's
and he's
right.
gone insane. He's gone insane. And it's not like and I saw another woman too. She went insane and she was a specter flying around incoherently insane. And I thought, well, why was she like someone who would drag around chains in a spooky movie? And I saw her and I thought, no one can even talk to her. The other person reminded me of the Munsters movie, the guy that answered the front door. He was a tall, thin guy, and he had his head, and he wore his face white. This man just happened to be tall and thin. And as a spirit person, he had no emotion anymore, and you could talk to him, but he couldn't talk back. and he just went insane. He just hung his head and he was standing there like a stick. But he got ashen. He forgot what his face looked like. It was just pieces of it. It's really, I don't know. And then you might say, oh my God, Nancy, tell me if any of my relatives have become that person like this. There's no way to know. It clearly is a business. And then I apologize for taking the stage again. But then people would call me up and say, you didn't tell me if this person's all right or that person's. Well, actually, if a person went insane, they're not going to show up necessarily,
That's right.
and I
Absolutely.
won't know it in the first
That's
place.
right.
And I don't believe they're going to be insane forever because that spirit will stay spirit until the other family members pass over. And then when the other family members pass over, then he's with his family again. So it's like unfinished business in spirit land will be caught up.
Yeah.
They don't, I've never seen it forever. Now, I don't know, I've never gone to Egypt in a pyramid and see anybody hang around a pyramid. It's 3,500
Yeah.
years, 5,000. But I get the sense it doesn't last. It's kind of like in a bad dream and then you wake up. So if anybody's watching this and think about all the Uncle Joes in the family that have been really bad people, are they haunting, like, ugh. What I'm saying is I think it's more temporary. So who are you really afraid of? Who's out there?
That's
Go ahead,
right.
John. Talk
Now,
about what they could be afraid of.
well, that's it. I mean, just to give you an example, I mean, with that, with the way spirits progress and that, and they say that you don't get a sense that it stays forever. I mean, again, I have a gentleman that's been coming to see me, over the last 3 or 4 years now, about once every 6 months. He come, and his brother passed away in terrible circumstances. Nancy, he was in a chair, basically had a heart attack, wasn't found for 6 weeks.
Oh,
So he just wasted away in the chair, as you can imagine. And his dog that he had with him also died the same way because he couldn't. There was no food for the dog, and the dog just wasted away by the side of him. And his brother found him like that. But over the when he first started coming to me, obviously I could see his brother, and his brother was sat down in a chair, and I could see, gaunt face, all the rest of it as you do. But then over the period of time that he's been coming, slowly but surely, every time he's come, his brother has been in a different form. Up until the most recent part, where I said when he came a few weeks ago, I said, your brother's he's actually standing with you. I said, and he looks wonderful. There's no
yeah.
ailments. There's no, all these.
He became emotionally
Yeah,
healthy.
that's right. You know what I mean?
Spirit person.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that directly links in with sort of what you were saying about how spirits, they don't stay the same forever. They do progress. But I think there is some part of it. I think that some spirits will tend to. I think it's the undefinable time, from, how long is it going to take this spirit to transition into this. Some of them make
Hmm.
it, some other spirits don't. They need to wait for the family members, like you said, to pass over, to pull them with them, sort of thing. um, but I do think it does change. So just for the viewers out there, that what we're saying, it isn't. This doesn't happen to every spirit. You know what I mean? It depends on the
Absolutely.
circumstance. It depends on the circumstances, and it certainly isn't something that lasts forever. But again, going right the way back to what we said, are you, again, when you're going on investigations, do be prepared that you can. I mean, another sort of thing that you can get, is, which again is going completely off at a tangent, which I think we'll talk about at a different time, is
It's hard.
within there
Randomness.
random within paranormal investigations. I believe that sometimes you can get attachments with you as well, and I think sometimes the attachments can be a bit negative as well, and I think that sometimes you can take them away from places. I don't know what you think about that, Nancy, but that's what I feel. I feel that because the way I view it is that we all have, if we all imagine ourselves as a bright light, our soul is a bright light. Okay, so we go into a particular building that's completely black, say, right, and there's a spirit there that's been looking for the light to go over. So
Hmm.
we go in, we're this bright shining light, and the spirit thinks, oh, that's where I'm supposed to
Okay,
go.
you want to ride?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. I'll come with you. And then I think sometimes the spirit can sometimes get a bit confused between your light to be where the other light is, and I think that's how they sometimes get like attached to you. Um, and then I think it's a case from that. Then we go on to other things to help them pass over. But that's Another
Why
discussion
don't
for
we
another show.
why don't
I
we
think.
stop this one, everybody,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I know it's getting long, about 20 minutes, and we'll start up again talking about hitchhikers, ghosts, and the other paranormal issues. So how about that, John? How about we catch up on the next one?
yeah, that's it. Definitely, definitely, definitely. So yeah, so thanks for
Talk
listening, guys. Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for listening. And as always, you can
and
find out more about Nancy at www.nancymats.net and with me www.orbsuk.co.uk. So see you again, everybody, and thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in.
thank you, everybody, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.